Coach, thank you so much for joining us on the call today. If you would take a minute to tie up the game against San Jose State, please, and tell us what you expect to see as you open at home on Saturday against Stony Brook.
Well, we started off and just didn't play well there. The first quarter, gave up just too many penalties, turned the football over. Then the kicking game, which did a really poor job in the kicking game of just placing the ball. But just defensively, we were able to just sustain it and made a big fourth down stop. And then I think the game changers when we got the tipped interception. Sawtelle made a really good dive and play and caught the ball. And then we were able to take the ball and go drive with our offense. Because first three drives for first three possessions for us were 3 and outs. And then we were able to get it going there in the second quarter and score 28 points. And then we were able to just play the way we're capable of playing. We have another opponent. We just have to make sure that, we don't lose our focus and just be prepared and play a better game than what we played last week. And from game 1 to game 2, you want to see a big improvement. And that's what we have to make sure that happens.
Any questions for Coach Strong, please? *1 on your telephone keypad will join the queue. The operator will introduce you.
We'll go to Leo Haggerty with It's Sports Magazine.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Leo.
Coach, you get down 16-0 in the first quarter, but there doesn't seem to be an ounce of panic on the sideline. Did it just take a little longer for the offense to get revved up, do you think, with the trip all the way to California?
Well, I don't know if that was had anything to do with it, Leo, because we went out there on a Thursday, but it was more offense is about rhythm, defense is about disruption of rhythm, and just disrupting rhythm. And what we needed to happen is we get the ball, and if you remember, there was a big third down, and we throw a pass down the field, and we end up dropping it. And then we come back to second possession, and Quentin tries to make something happen, and end up getting an intentional grounding. And then the third drive is we're driving the ball, and it's 3rd and 1, and the back bounced outside instead of just running the ball downhill. But we needed to make first downs, and once we made the first downs, then we were able to get going on offense. But it took us a while. But once the quarterback is special, and he's the one that makes it all flow.
Coach, on Johnson's TD run, I think it was wide receiver Tyree McCants through 2 blocks. Does that epitomize the kind of work and hustle you're trying to instill into your team?
Oh, it is. And what I try to do each and every week, I take an effort tape. And so even if it's a practice, if it shows a young man making an unbelievable effort to make a play, then I show that to the whole team and say, this is what we have to have. And so the one that Tyree made, he's going down. Dearness ended up bouncing the ball outside, and he's standing outside, and he blocks his DB, and then he takes off running, and there's a guy about to make the tackle, and he comes across it and blocks him. But it was just 2 unbelievable blocks by him, and that's what I told Dearness when he scored. I said, listen, you go over and thank Tyree, because he's the one that really sprung you and got you going.
Coach, last question, and thank you for your time today. You decide to play 0 week this year. What are the positives of opening up that early?
Well, it's we have a chance to open up college football, which is real, and then you get a lot of exposure, a lot of eyes on your team, and because the following weekend everyone is opening up. But that 0 week was really tough. The positive thing, like I said, exposure. The tough part is that you have to start camp early, and so now you're going into July when you really start camp, and it's because you want to get your practices in.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
All righty, thank you.
We'll go next to Chris Vanini with All-American.
Coach, the special teams mixed bag in the game, did you foresee that might be a bit of an issue at all?
No, Chris, more than anything is ball placement. The first kickoff, we kick out of bounds. And then our first punt, it goes out of bounds. And the second one, we go out and try to block the guy coming off the edge instead of letting the guy come to us, because he's got to come through us to block it. And we go out and he beat us on an up and under move. But once we got settled down, we end up pinning the ball 3 or 4 times inside the inside the 3-yard line. So the punter was able to bounce back, and then we ended up, kicking the ball out of the end zone when we did score. So we can really improve in the kicking game, and that's where we have to get better, because you have to play better in all 3 phases.
Did you think the hype surrounding the team at all played any factor in the start?
I'm sorry, did I think the hype?
Did you think the hype, the preseason hype around the team and around Quentin, do you think that played any factor at all?
Well, it's not going to affect Quentin, but what happened, guys, they're going to read and they're going to hear what's been said to them. And for anyone, you love to have, a pat on your back, but what they have to understand is you still got to go play the game. And people can say, and they can put you where they want to put you in the beginning, but what's going to be key for us is where we end up in the end and how we go in. It's got to be a one-game season, and that's how we have to approach it, where we just go play each and every week and don't worry about the next opponent until we play the one that we are playing on that day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Derek Sharp with USF Radio.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned the big stop early or towards the end of the first quarter. Was there a little despondency setting in on the sidelines? How important did you notice a lift from that defensive stop?
Well, it's not. No, I don't know if any doubt was on the sideline, but when you're down 16, then anything can creep in your mind, and we needed to stop, and we needed to go back out on defense and just make sure that we can get the ball back for our offense, because we knew at some point they were going to get going, and we just needed to just get the ball back and get it in the quarterback hands and let him go to work, and that's where we getting a fourth down stop was big, and then getting the interception was even bigger.
And last thing for me, it seems like there's a lot of slipping and sliding on the turf there. Was it as bad as it looked, and how glad are you to be playing on Raymond James turf in a few days?
Well, I don't know if that turf had, because, you look at both sides of the ball, both teams played on it. So I don't know if we just, a lot of times you just got to get your feet underneath you, and you just got to make the plant and just make sure you stay down. Then it wouldn't be so much, slipping and sliding, guys falling. Once you get overextended, those things happen to you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Dan Tortora with WakeUpCallDT.com.
Good afternoon, Coach. How are you?
Dan, good.
To look at Quentin Flowers, and not just what he's done on the field, but what he's been through in his life and his story to get to where he is today, just what you can say about the young man and not just the quarterback, and what having him on a team.
Well, if you look at what he's been through, he's been able to overcome so many struggles and so much adversity. But the thing about it, Dan, he's lived through it, so he's been through it now, and what he's done for him has made him a stronger person. And he knows how to handle it. I don't know if anything that can come his way that he can handle, but it's just who he is. He's an unbelievable character, a good young man, and a young man that understands what his goals are and what his visions are and what he wants to get accomplished.
And then as far as what you can take away from the running backs, D'Ernest Johnson and Darius Tice and company, just what you can say about how the backfield has looked to you through that first game and moving forward.
Well, we had over 300 yards rushing. So between Quentin, D'Ernest, and Tice, you had to establish a run game. And our offensive line played very well. They were physical at the point of attack, and we were able to move people just because of how physical we played. And you had to play physical, and you had to establish a run game.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coach, thanks so much for your time today. I look forward to hearing from you again next Monday.
All right. Thank you.